So, but our major focus today will be on the body design. Will be on the body design. I don't know if you can see my screen. Please confirm. Please, once you can't hear me, kindly notify me on WhatsApp so that
I can see the screen.
you can see my screen now.
Yes.
All right. So, like I said, today's class is the continuation of the last time. So, to have a complete web page, there are a lot of sections that are involved, which you need to design. And one of them is what we have designed now, which is the navigation bar. So the navigation bar is the very first part you start with. And then after that, you now start designing the body section. So the body section is, so let me open it on a live server so that you know the section we want to embark on now. So if you can still see my screen, you can see that we only have the links and the header. Now the whole of this is the body. So we still have two more sections to design. So in every web page, there are three parts you are expected to create. The first part is what we have done, which is the navigation bar. And the second part is the body, the main body. We refer to it as the main body. And then the third part is the footer. So the main body is where you program all the main content, what you are actually advertising. Because website is an online platform where you market products or where you showcase your information to the general public. So as a result of that, the main body contain the main item, the main design, the content, what you are selling to people. And that is what we want to focus on. And for you to build this main body, you are going to step out of that header tag that we open in the HTML section. This tag that we open here, we are going to step outside of it to create any other thing. That is, the header was used for the navigation bar, which contained the links, the logo, and the name of the organization. But this time around, this session will contain the contents. And when you want to start developing your contents, you need to consider your layout. So here we talk about layout and design. What is the meaning of website layer? Website layer simply means the way your contents are arranged on the web page. The way your content are arranged on the web page is called website layout and design. So as a developer, you need to be conscious of that. What formats, the content you are about to introduce, how do you want that to be arranged on the page professionally, that the message you are trying to pass can easily be, received by the user of the website. So that is one thing you need to ensure as you plan the layout. So for that reason, I'm going to use what we call mixed column. Mixed column. So I'm going to use mixed column layout to design the body section. What is mixed column? Mixed column is a structure that allows you to divide a single column or a single row, that is a single row, into section. That is what we mean by mixed column. So what I'm going to do, I will create a div. Like I said, once you are not hearing me, kindly notify me through WhatsApp so that I can stop. So when you are not talking, I assume you are with me. So I have created a div, and this div that I created is just like the first mat. It's just like the entire area that I'm going to use to design the contents in my main body immediately after the navigation bar. So because I have intention of using other div, I will quickly class this div. I will class it in order to differentiate it from other div that I am going to introduce in the course of developing the body section of this web page. So what is the class name? I will use a name that describes what I'm actually doing with it. So I will use a name that describes what I'm doing, what I'm going to do with the div. The div is the first row, like I said, the first mat in which you are going to have 3 columns. That is why I describe it as row. So it's the first row because you cannot have column without a kind of a binder, what holds them together. So that first platform that holds them together is called the row. So that is why I class it what? The row. Then inside this, I will create 3 more div because I want 3 more columns inside this single row, div. So I will type another div and then I will expand it. So I will class this div. I will class it column. So you can actually use any name. You are expected to use a name that describes what you intend to do with the div. So why did I use column? Because I told you that in the first row, that is, this is what we're talking about. This particular body that we are designing now, the whole of this that we
Your
are.
voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking now.
Okay, can you hear me now? I believe it's the network. Are you hearing me now? Can you hear me? Okay, please, if you can hear me, kindly respond so that I can continue. Can you hear me?
Okay.
You can hear me now.
I can't hear. I can hear you now. Yes, but I was not hearing.
Okay, so thank you for that. Now, like I was saying, the whole of this white space you are seeing is the first row. So inside this white space, our plan is that I will divide one part of it off as one column, another one like this as another column. So the intention is that I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 columns inside.
I can't.
Oh, wow. You can't hear me. Can you hear me?
This. I did.
Can you hear me? So let me continue now from where I stopped.
Okay.
So I was talking about the the reason why can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I was talking about the reason why I nested this div inside the div row because this is the column, and I was trying to explain to you why I want 3 divisions. Let me go back to the browser to show you. Good. So I was saying that the whole of this white space you are seeing is one row. Inside this one row, which is the first div that we created, we will divide it into 3. So some content will take 1, another content will be in another one, another content. So in some cases, in some websites, you can have whereby you have just 2 columns in one row. That is what you divide it just into 2, or you use 1. Like the whole of this header now is using 1 row. That is why the information cut across the entire page. So that is what we are trying to achieve. So when I added this column is the first one, is the first division inside the first row. Now inside this column, I will now create the items. Let's say I want an image to be there inside it, and then I will call the image from my image folder. Then I will say don't know why I'm having just one image. I expected to have more than one image. So let me go and add more images to my image folder. Let me just quickly leave here to add more images. Okay, can I get images? Fast. Okay, so let me quickly go to browser to quickly get an image. So I used to have pictures here. Okay, I think I have it. Just to save my time. So let me just take some images here to save our time. Let me take just these two images. Then I'll dump them in my image folder. I'll dump them in my image folder, working from Pro. That's the folder I'm working from. So inside here, so I will dump the two pictures here. All right, so I'll now go back to my editor. So let me call. Let's say in the first column, I have this, and then this can be your product. This can be the products. So I'm just using this image. It could be one of the products, and then if it is a product, I will describe that product. Let's assume that I want to mention the name of that product. So I will use like H5 to mention the name of the product. Let's say what product. Are you with me? Okay, so let's say this is the product name. Then I want to say something about the products. That becomes the product description. So I will use let's say P tag, and then I will say something about the.
Excuse me.
Pardon, can you hear me?
No, when you called the image, I don't know what you used to call the HS. That's the product. Your voice, I was not hearing you then.
So okay, so let me delete it. This is what I did. So I assume that this image tag, I'm using it to call the products. Let's say I'm creating an e-commerce site for clients, where the person wants to advertise different products within this page. So I will assume that this image that I'm calling should be the product image. And then you cannot just display the products on the web page. You need to say something to tell us the product name. And that is why I created the H5 as another tag, just to mention the product name. So because I'm not working with product, that's why I'm putting this there to represent it. Then the products.
Excuse me. How did you call the product? Is it with H5?
Yes, exactly. I call H5. Did you understand it?
So after calling the H5 now, you just typed the product name. That's all.
Yes, of course, in the content part.
Yes.
Then here I want
to. Which one are you doing with this?
So here now, products description. So all this, they are information you need to have gotten, but I'm just putting there because I'm not working with product, I'm working with an image. So if I go to my site now, so you see it here. And then if I scroll down, you see the two information. Coming, let me check.
Can I say something? Sam? Sam? I can't hear you again. No, I'm trying to say something.
He's coming.
Okay.
All right, sorry, I need to attend to something briefly. Okay, so are you with me here?
Yes, but I wanted to add something. I noticed that we use H5 to call the product name. Then
Yes.
under product description, you are just using P. I don't know.
Yeah, P is a tag now. P is a tag. You know, all these are tags. I told us from the beginning that we use tags to create content. You cannot introduce information on your web page without using tag. So whenever you want to display content, you need to think of the tag that you want to use to display it. So we use H5 to display the name of the product. Then we use P tag. P tag is mainly for description, to say something about the heading. So I can even create, if I don't want description, I want some text, just because of time, I don't want to start writing the product is this and that is good. That is the description. So I can just say Lauren. Hope you understand what I was doing. Madam, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I understand what you're doing. I just want you to help me to something. Are you saying that under this class now,
Yes.
whenever you want to call maybe a product name or a kind of is it subsection or what, you use H5. Then if you want to describe it, you use P.
Okay. Now,
is that the standard?
Okay, see, the issue is that depends on these tasks are the building blocks. Now, being the building blocks, you as a developer, you need to know those ones that are universal and those ones that are unique. For example, now, this particular IMG, you can't use it for any other content creation except images.
Yes. Yes.
Now, for H5, H1, H2, H3, they are universal tags. I can even use H1 in the place of this P tag. So what you are creating, yes, there are some of them that are universal.
So under the H5, now, you can use any H1, H2, H3 for H5.
Good, I can use H2 to achieve that same thing I wanted to achieve.
So you are saying that even under the H5 that we use to call the product name, we can equally use H1. We can equally use H1 to H5 then.
Yes, exactly. But what we are saying is that they all have, despite that they are manipulatable, they all have their primary functions. This H1, H2, H3, their primary function is for creating headings, but developer can twist them.
Okay, so H1 to H5 is to create headings.
H1 to H6 is to create headings.
H6.
Primarily.
Okay.
But as a developer, where you felt that, okay, you have not used, now, the reason why I use H5 now is that because there are places where I'm going to use H1. So that's why I shifted to the last one, because most times developers use H1, H2, H3. Sometimes they hardly use H5 and H6. But what I'm saying is that depending on your planning. So in this case now, why I did not use that H2 before, because I recognize why I used P tag before, because I use P tag because P tag is for description. And since I have used H5 to mention the name of the product, the next thing I want to say is something about the products. So because I'm reserving the H for other headings I'm going to create, that's the reason why I did not use it before. I used P so that I can still have that opportunity of using it for creating other headers. Is it clear?
Okay.
Okay, so now
yes.
if I go to
okay,
the
now, that means now that we have used H5 now to call the product name, we can use it again on this particular project to call another header.
Exactly.
Because we have used it.
Yes, we are going to use it again. But if we are using it again, I will use it to call another product name, not this same product, so that the styling of all the product name will be unique.
Okay.
Just watch me now. You see, I will reuse it now. I just wanted to go to the browser to show you what we have achieved for now. So you can see that Lorem Test has generated 100 words for us under the product name. So what I'm going to do now is I will copy the whole of this. Okay, let me do one more time so that you understand it.
Remember, sorry, but how did it write all those things now? You just wrote a one line.
No, I just wrote Lorem. I'm going to use it again. Just watch me. Now, what we are doing now is that this is the main container, and this is where it's closed. Now we open this div. This div closes here. Now this is for one column. Remember the plan. We are planning to have 3 columns in this same row. So now just watch part of the things you are wondering about. Now I'm going to do them again. Now I want to create another column, but I will come immediately after the end of the first one. I will say another div. I will open it up. This div is for the second column. So I will give it the same class name. I'll give it the same class name, column. And then under it, I will use the same H5, because when I'm styling, if I call H5 in my CSS, all the product names should be styled the same. That is the reason why I'm using H5 to call all the product names. So here, I will just say what? Product 2. This for product 2. So now, I will now come here. Sorry, before H5, I will call the image for this particular column, img, and then slash. I will call another image. This is supposed to be the second image of the second product. Now, here, I want to describe the products. Sorry, I will use the same H2 just to maintain that uniform arrangement. So H2. Now this H2, like you were asking, I just type a single word and it generated this. So I will just type Lorem. I told you the other time that this Lorem is an inbuilt text writer. So because I don't have time to start saying something about the product 2, just to save my time, I will just use Lorem to create some group of words. So I will just say Lorem, and then to indicate the number of words I want it to create for me, I will type 100. I type 100. You can say 200. You can say 300. But it's 100 that generated this one. And then you click on it. So if you go to the page now, you will notice that you now have another image. But right now, they are display words inline. Sorry, they are display block. That is, each one is taking each row. But we are still going to work on them with CSS so that this second image will come immediately after the first one. So they are not going to be like this. They are still like this because we are still in HTML. So now the plan is to have 3 images, 3 columns, 3 columns. So the last column, what I actually want there is form. so that when they log into the page, they should see the first column will carry an image of my product, the product name, the product description, followed by another product image, the product name, and the description. Then the last column will now be the form, in like simple contact form, in case they want to like contact me or send a message to me through my back end so that I can reach back to them. So that is the plan. So now we are still in this div row. That this is the closing session. We are still inside it. So I will now come here and create the last column. Just watch. You will see what we are doing now. I'll create the last column. So let me go to the end of this and then I'll press enter here. So I'll put my cursor here. Okay, so I'm already here now. So I'll type another div. Okay, I need to leave this div. I need to leave this div. So since I did not use up the entire space, so I will delete the space. I'll delete one more space, delete one more space. It does not really matter whether you delete it, but I just want my code to be properly organized. So I'll create the third column, div again. What we have done is what I'm doing again now. I'll open it up. I'm still inside the div row. So I will also class it. I will class it the same name with other one, column. I'll class it column. Then the image this time around is not an image, it's a form. So I will now type form. It's form. Then I will open up the form because the form is another container now, the form they are going to fill. So if I go to my page now, then I should be able to have, I have not added item inside the form. That is the reason why you are not seeing anything. So now I want to create the form. The form is actually used to collect user inputs. You must have visited a lot of websites whereby you fill a form, and then when you fill it, you click on submit, and then it will dump the content to the back end of the website. So the website admin can reach out to you through the information you submitted. That is what we use form to achieve. And for you to start creating form, you have to activate form, just like the way we are creating H2, H3, H5. So there is a tag for creating form, and the tag name is form. Once you type it, and then it will bring out this syntax as the first one. Now, inside this, you now begin to create your, you create the heading of the form. So somebody should know whether the form is a contact form, or is a registration form, or is a form for buying products from your websites. So to give that description, there are other tags that are associated with this form tag. So this form tag is just like a container that comes with other tags for creating the content of the container. So now what I have done, what you are seeing right now on the screen, you have just opened up the container. Now, what the user will see inside the form is what I'm about to create now. The first thing I want them to see, a binder, something that group all the form property or element together. So, and to call that binder, which is a grouping line, you type field set is a tag, field set. Then you open up the field set. So inside this field set is to give us a kind of binding line, a line that will be grouping all the form elements together. Then inside it, I will create another tag called legend. What is this legend going to do? The legend is to give the form description. For example, I will say this form is contact form. It's a form that the user will fill in their contact details. So I will just say contact form. Now, if I go to the browser now, you will see the form producing information. Now you can see it. So this line that you are seeing here was generated by few sets. Why this contact form was generated by the legend. That is the meaning of these few sets. So the few sets is just to create that grouping line, while this legend is just to give the form a description, a title, so that when the user fill it, they know what the form is being used for. Are you here, ma?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just stay tuned. I think it will be clear. So now that I've created that, so with just
Hello?
yeah, I can hear you.
Sir? Okay. Sir, I'm following but for me now to be writing all these things and still be following you is difficult.
No,
that's why I said if I can be getting the record immediately after the class.
Don't worry, I will do that.
Or is it to be snapping it? If I snap it, it will not be on my notes, you know.
Okay, so what will happen that tomorrow I will make sure just be on my neck, just keep disturbing me, so that to ensure that I send you the recording, please. Yes, I will do that.
Please. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Even if it's not vetted, I will understand it.
Okay. So just pay attention. I promise that. Just be on my neck. Just keep disturbing me before the end of tomorrow. You get it. So now, like I'm saying, just now we have used just three tags here now. The form. You cannot call few sets, neither legend, when you have not called the form, because the form is what introduces every other tag you are going to call inside it. So now you have seen the result of the two tags that we created inside the form. The few set is the one that created this line. Then the legend is the one that created this. Now, the user need to type in something and click on submit. So those are the things I want to create now. And then I will wrap them in div so that everything will display in a block form. So just watch, you are going to get it. So I will write what? Div. I will open it up. So this div is a container. I'm not classing it because we class the other ones. If you want to class, you can class, but I don't want to class this very one because the inside form. So now, inside this div, what do I intend to achieve with this container? This container is going to hold the label. Now, the first thing I want to create is for them to enter their first name in the form. And that first name, there must be a write-up that says first name, so they will know what to write inside the box for the first name. And to create that description, it is called label. So that will now lead to introducing another tag called label. So you just type label.
Your voice is breaking.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Are you with me now?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I don't know if you can hear me, please. Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. So I was talking about the label. So this label, you will see what, by the time you see it, you see the impact of it in the web page, you understand what you are using it for. It's just to give the input description so that the user will know what they have to write inside it. So this for you are seeing there is an attribute.
I can't hear you. Excuse me, I can't hear you. I didn't know how you introduced the label.
Okay, but can you hear me now? I want to be sure that you are hearing me first.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so if you can hear me now, I will reintroduce it. I will reintroduce the label now.
Or maybe the network.
Okay, let me reintroduce the label.
I can't hear you now. I don't know if you're speaking.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I want to know if you can.
Hello?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so let me reintroduce the label tag now. So at least you have known the essence of the label. The label is just to add description to the input. Now, most of these things sometimes, as I'm writing it now, it might confuse you. Once I show you in the web page, you understand what we are achieving with it. So now I'm using this label to describe first name. So I will just abbreviate it there. If I like, I write it in full. Or, but remember I told us from the beginning, whatever you have in the angle brackets, the browser will not output it. So for the user to see something to guide it, you come to the session aspect, which is this, and then write. Let me be sure that I'm recording. Okay. So for the user to see something to know what you are doing, you now express that first name in the tag description section. First name. Now let me go to the browser so that you see it. So you see what you just added with the label now. First name. Now we are about to activate the input so that they will know, okay, I'm to write my first name here. That is exactly what we are communicating. Now, while you are still inside this div, you press enter, you now create the input. The input is another tag that creates a box for them to write their content, the information they are to submit to you. And how do you create it? You type input. Input. Once you activate it, it comes with an attribute type. So whatever you put inside this type attribute determine the reaction or what that box will be used for. Now, anytime I use the word input, what should come to your mind is the box. Now look up, you see box now that has been activated just because I called input. When we call just label, this box was not there. So all these boxes that you enter your information where you are filling form on the internet, they are created with input tag. So now, but this input tag, I need to give it a name. I need to give it a name. I will space. So this text you are seeing means that what this input is used for collecting text. Somebody cannot enter maybe a video or audio there. It's only for what? Collecting text. So I'll give it a name. This name is just for processing it to the back end. And the name you are giving should align with the name you use as your label. So the name can just be first name. So you can get the name from the name you use for your label. Now, if you go to the browser, you will discover that there are some basic users that even after you have given them this information to enable them to know that they are to enter their first name here, they will not still know what to do. Or some of them will be doubting, which format do I follow? How do I write the name? So in order to guide them, they what we call placeholder. That placeholder is another attribute that will enable you to give them an example. So you space here and type placeholder. Placeholder. So after this, you now give them the example. So inside the placeholder, you could just say e.g. Prosper, so that they will know that, okay, this is how they are to write their name. So they will not go and write the two names inside. So if I go back to the browser now, you will see the example showing there, e.g. Prosper. So the moment I type, it will erase that placeholder. So that is the work of the placeholder. Now, if I want to make it compulsory that they must fill it, otherwise the form will not submit to the back end as a way of validating it. So I will add another attribute called require. Require. So this require means on no account, this form can be submitted without entering information here. That is what we are saying. So now I will create another input. I will create another input. I will copy this. I will just edit. I don't want to waste my time. I will just copy this, come under this div, then Control V to paste. Then I will just edit here. This label is for middle name. So I'll just put what? Middle name. M name. And then I will change the description. Middle name. And then the input type is still test because the middle name is still test. So I will change the name here. I told you whatever name you use as your label is what you should repeat as the name attribute, which is a middle name. And then example here, I will change the example from this time around just to show you another way you can reflect your placeholder. You can simply tell them that what? Enter your middle name. Enter your middle name here. I'm coming. Okay. So if I go back to my browser now, you will see you see the second input we added. Okay, you have questions? Okay, ask. Go ahead with your question, man. Ask your question, man. Ask your question. I don't know if you.
That is making that.
Okay.
The required that is making the line compulsory. That if you don't fill it, you won't be able to submit the form online. I am not seeing the impact on the lifesaver. Or is it that it's not visible? That
Okay,
the only thing is that.
Yeah, okay, sorry. You can't see the impact now because we have not created our submit button. Now, if you want to see the impact, let me just do something now so that you understand it. Just stay with me now. You will see the impact now. The form need to be, the form, when you are done creating all your inputs, you add your button. For example, now if I say inputs, don't worry, you see the impact now. You say inputs, and then you say type is submit. Type is submit, and I say value. Value is register. Value, register. Or let's say value submit, since it's a contact form. Value submit. Now, if I go to the page now I have a button now. So the form now has action. Now, let's say you fill your middle name, Eguero. You fill your middle name, Eguero, and you now want to submit without filling here. Guess what will happen now? Can you see it now? Can you see the impact now? Hello, ma. Can you hear me? Please.
I can hear you.
Okay.
So you're saying that that's required now. Anywhere it is called, when you click on submit, it will tell you fill out this part.
Correct. That's the
so that's the output.
Yes. So it's actually programmed to remind the user in case he or she forgot to fill a particular input or information, so that he does not submit incomplete information to the back end.
Okay, then there are some forms online. When you are filling it, you see that red asterisk that makes it that you must fill this. Maybe others without the asterisk, meaning that they are optional. Here now, we just created it is at the point of submission that you know that this particular field that you must fill it. So how do you create that type that when you are filling it already, men looking at the form, you will see the ones that are compulsory with that red asterisk. So how do you call such function?
Okay. Mother, you don't finish website too.
I told you that I want to be professional.
Now, it's good you have those ideas because it will help you to understand what we are doing. Are you still with me? Like you are not there. Hope your network have not. Okay, you are back now, right? Madam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now while you are away, can you see what I added here now?
Show me out. I didn't see anything.
You can see my cursor. Where,
Okay.
can see where my cursor is blinking.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, you went outside the input
Good.
box to
Good.
put the what? What did you put there? The star sign.
Yes, yes, that is the one you get through Shift and the 8. But I want to show you, I want to show that you can style it red. So that you can style it red, you have to introduce it to another tag. So what you do is that you just type span. Just type span tag like this, and then inside it, then put that asterisk. Put that asterisk. Then so that in your CSS, to make it red.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. You put the only asterisk before. So why did we call the span function in now?
Is another
to type the asterisk.
The span is another tag. The reason why I called it is that so that I'll be able to give it color to red. Because if I type it here without it in the tag, I will not be able to change this to red.
Okay.
So now for me to change it to red, I can just do inline. I can just say style, inline. I may not need to go to my CSS page and say color. I will just say red. I will just say red. Now, if I go to the page now, you will see it now. Can you see it?
Wow. Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Wait, okay, go back to the span whatever again. Okay.
From here.
Wait. Okay. Okay, you created the color, the style before
yes,
the.
I did inline.
Okay. Okay.
Did you understand it?
So, I didn't know that we can actually do CSS inside the HTML.
Yes, you can do it. You can do it. You know, this thing at the point of, as we started that day, there's no way one can introduce all of them. Most of them, you learn them as the person is working like this. So the person will just have to tell you the basic first. While it's working, there are still a lot of things you learn. Like this one now, you have learned it now as I'm working. So that is one thing about web development. You can't, if you try to give the person at the beginning everything, the person will be too loaded. The person will not be able to cope. So there are some that once you have established the framework, while you are working, you keep explaining them. Like you can see now, I've been able to use this span tag now. There's a place I intend to use it, but because of your question, I have to use it now.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So what is going to happen there? I will just add more. I will just stop at the form so that you can do that. We are still going to meet one more time because we started late. I was thinking that today now we'll be able to cover the remaining parts. But as we start now, we are still going to meet one more time. I'm still going to do that. So we are supposed to meet 3 times, but I'm still going to give you additional time because of your commitment so that you can finish everything we specified there. So
thank you.
So what I'm going to do now, I will just complete this form and then we'll stop there. Now, to create other one, you know, I'm not supposed to bring in this submit yet, just because of your question. That submit should be the last thing. Is the last thing when you're done with all the inputs. So now I will copy the whole of this again. I'll copy the whole of this. And then I will edit. This one is for their last name. Last name, for entering the last name. And then I will also edit here last name, and then it's still tests. So I will change here to last name, and then here I will change here to what? Last. last. So if I go back to my browser, you can see that the form is increasing. The inputs are increasing. So I have 3 now. So let me create one more. It's a simple contact form. So here I want the dates, the date of filling this form. So I'll put date here, and then whatever you put in that form, that is what you express in the content section. So I can just say what date. Now, if you are using date, so that the browser will give you the calendar where you can pick the date. This text, you change it to date. The type you define there will determine what the input will do. So here, I'll change here to date. And then here, there is no need for the placeholder. You don't need to bring in the placeholder because there is a calendar they are going to pick. So you can make it compulsory that they must submit it. So if I come here now, you see, because I put that date, it's a generated calendar. So when the user gets here now, when they are filling the form, it will just bring out the calendar. So they don't need to type it by themselves. So that's
okay. I wanted to ask you the date format, but does that mean that this date format now is what must be followed in building the website?
Yes.
It will not be the other way around.
No. This is the standard YYNMDD. That is the standard for the.
Okay. And that's the only option. It cannot be changed.
No, you can't change it. If you change it, it's going to have an issue with the back end.
Okay.
Okay, so now let me paste another one after this. Now I wanted to submit maybe the agenda. Yeah, I wanted to submit the agenda. So that's this will change to gender. And then here we'll also change to gender. And then the input type for gender, the person can either pick whether male or female, cannot pick more than one. So where you want to create such option, you use radio instead of date. So you see the type you put here will determine the reaction. So in the place of name, the name will tally with the label, which is what? Gender. Then there is no need for this placeholder. I'll remove this and then remove require. I don't want that. So I will just say here, I'll put value because there are multiple options. One of them must be submitted to the so value, I will say male. That is the first value that is going to submit. Then outside that, I will say what? Check, because it's going to create a radio button. And then after that, I will now type what? Male outside. And then I will put break to break it. Once I'm done with it, I'll copy this line only. I'll copy this line only and paste. So what I will do now, I will just change here to female. I will just change here to female. Then I will also change here to female. I will change here to order. I'll change here to order. And then I'll change here to order also. If I go to my browser now, you will notice I have them here. You can see it here. So you can only pick one. You can't pick more than one. But I want to bring this one down so that 3 of them will be under gender. So to do that, I will put break here. It will be up. So with that will take it down. You can see that 3 of them are down. Now, so I will bring in the inputs for the submit now. And then I'll say submit. Then value. value, submit. So the form is ready. So probably maybe in the next class we'll add more information, and then before we go for the styling aspect, because this form is not yet styled. We have not done CSS. We use CSS to make it look like those forms that you have been filling. So any questions so far?
Yes. Please, the radio, is it generally used for checking questions?
You mean
As in questions that you need to check the radio.